Hey everyone, and welcome back to Athens International Airport, where I'll be catching a flight back to the US with Emirates after a great 2-week trip to Greece. I got here way too early, and since check-in hadn't opened yet, I decided to have a look around the airport museum. This is one of the coolest features I've seen in an airport. I know that some of you are probably scratching your heads right now, but in addition to being an av geek, I'm also a huge history nerd. They had a whole bunch of artifacts on display that had been discovered in the surrounding area. If you ever find yourself transiting through this airport, then I'd recommend spending some time here. Personally, I prefer this than sitting in some overcrowded lounge and eating mediocre food for an hour. Once check-in opened, I was one of the first people to get in line, but the whole process of going over everyone's documents took forever, and I had to wait over an hour just to drop off my bag. This was filmed just after Greece had reopened their borders to tourism again, so it's understandable that this whole process wasn't so smooth, but I just hope by now that things have improved. This afternoon's flight will be taking me back to Newark in business class aboard one of the airline's 777s. You may have seen the video that I posted about flying from the US to Greece in Emirates business class already, but I decided to film the return journey because it's still interesting to see what their service is like going in the opposite direction, and business class reviews always do well on my channel. The business class cabin aboard the 777-300 isn't as glitzy or glamorous as what you'll find on some of Emirates' other planes, but I was able to book a basic business class fare for only about $1,200, which is a great deal for an 11-hour flight. This plane has a 232 configuration, which is pretty outdated for 2022. Last time I had a window seat, but today I decided to go with seat 8F in the middle. Normally I try to avoid bulkhead seats, but the legroom was so generous here that I thought it wouldn't be an issue. When I got on board, a pillow, a blanket, and a pair of headphones were waiting for me on the seat. And later everyone received an amenity kit and some hygiene items. The storage pocket was located right down by my feet, and when I looked inside there was a bottle of water and a sleep kit. This flight wasn't very crowded, so the crew was able to get everyone settled without delay, and we pushed back from the gate on time.
Pleasure to share the party today with two of my colleagues, Captain Anup Diaz from the UK and Senior First Officer Joao Moscoso from Brazil. And you're seated on a Boeing 777-300ER. Today we've got 15 cabin crew members. The first is from Lebanon, Mr. Rabi El-Khalis. Flight time to Newark will be about 9 hours and 35 minutes, and we'll be cruising up to 38,000 feet. And we sit back, relax, and enjoy this flight. Once again, welcome on board.
Now that we're up in the air, let's take a closer look around. There's 42 angle flat seats in the business class cabin, and as I mentioned before, the legroom was very generous. There's a privacy divider between you and your neighbor, and next to that there's an adjustable reading light. In the armrest there's a little storage cubby, and there's a universal outlet inside. The tray table pulls out like this and was pretty large, and it's definitely sturdy enough to support a laptop. The seat controls can be found in the opposite armrest, and you can recline the seat into a bunch of positions, including an angle flat bed. There's a large touchscreen IFE monitor, but since it's so far away, it's just easier to use the remote to control it. Emirates also provides a tablet that you can use to access the IFE system as well. The flight attendants were really attentive and handed out drinks and warm nuts once we reached cruising altitude. I ordered an orange fizz mocktail, which tasted great. Soon after, they took our orders for lunch. I ordered the tuna salad for an appetizer, but they gave me the Greek meze by mistake. It's funny because the exact same thing happened on my last Emirates flight, but the crew realized the mistake and gave me my actual order a little bit later. For my main, I chose the chicken with mushroom sauce. Overall, I thought the food was good, and I enjoyed the dessert at the end. After lunch was cleared away, there were some issues with the IFE system, so I decided to go to the bathroom, and after that, check out the economy cabin. As I mentioned earlier, this wasn't a very crowded flight, so there were a lot of open seats in economy, and I even managed to get a view of the wing. Back in business class, the lights were turned down and everyone settled in for this long flight back to the US. Emirates has a fantastic selection of movies and TV shows on offer, so it's pretty easy to find something to pass the time. As I mentioned in my last Emirates 777 video, the angle flat seats on this plane aren't very comfortable for sleeping, but this was a daytime flight and I wasn't really in the mood to sleep, so I ended up just lounging around the entire flight, which these seats were well suited for. About 2 hours before landing, the crew handed out some more snacks and drinks, and then dinner was served. For my appetizer, I ordered the prawn cocktail, and thankfully, I received the correct dish this time. And for my main, I ordered the grilled beef fillet. To finish off dinner, I decided to go with the cheese plate. Overall, this meal was just okay. The beef was a bit tasteless, but I did enjoy the cheese plate at the end.
Ladies and gentlemen, now in position of customs declaration form for arrival into the Newark.
I enjoyed this flight. The service was good, and I got it for a great deal. Although if I could redo it, I think I would have just saved some money and booked economy instead, especially since that cabin was fairly empty on this flight. Flying business class on a long-haul flight is always a treat, but the business class cabins on these 777-300s are pretty old, and from what I saw from walking around in the back of the plane, I think I would have managed just fine in economy.
Our Newark International Airport, the local time here is 6:20 in the evening and the temperature outside is 22 degrees centigrade. Please keep your seatbelt fastened until the sign has been switched on. If you have
And that'll do it for this video. Emirates has a special place in my heart because my flights aboard their A380 are really what spurred my interest in aviation. Hopefully in the near future I can try out some of their updated cabins, especially their all-new premium economy, and I can bring you some more trip reports. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.